Okay, so I've given a couple other talks here at Lightning Talks before, and they've all apparently been leading to this, because I taught one on how to do hover physics, I taught another one about low-level memory in C#, and then in this one, I'm changing out the Unity physics engine from PhysX over into my own custom one, which sounds impressive. It's not all that tough. I'm also going to change what my slides originally said, because I realized it was going to take way too long. It was like 8 minutes. That was as short as I can go, and I would have to speed talk, which, I'm probably already doing. Let's see. But anyway, so when you think about physics, if you think about Mario Brothers, you have a little character that's just running across, and all you really need to know is, where is he along sideways, and where is he up and down? And you can kind of determine, is he on top of a block? Very simple if statements for programming. But when you get into a 3D system, you start talking about triangles, and it has to sort what triangles it's going to use to measure where its collisions are. And when it starts even just going through the trees, trying to sort out which ones, it's making all these memory leaps. And if you're unaware, jumping around memory from variable to variable that are in different locations is slow. That's a major slowdown in a lot of programs, especially depending on what you're doing. When you're talking about physics engines, you really want this stuff to be lined up as close as possible. Anyway, so this is the physics that I needed to do. In Unity, this was fairly easy to do, same thing in Unreal. And so the basic idea of this is, if an object is getting closer to a surface, it just needs to detect that and put more force away from the object. If it's farther away, it stops putting force, which in rigid body and Unity or Unreal, it's just apply force, and you tell it which direction and how much pressure. That's it. It's very simple. And then on each car, I would end up with multiple sets of points. Now, this is a lightweight one. This only has 27 points or 29 points, where it's doing array cast out to different spots. Every single one of those has to do all these memory leaps, and it gets expensive on how much it has to look around. So it was pretty easy. Oh, 29, yeah, 29 raycast minimum. Now, I was able to get up to around 200 cars. Now, that was also going with like upwards of 100, 200 raycasts on each car to be able to get the type of resolution that worked nicely. Back? There. I changed over to a custom one I created called PRF Physics. If anyone's familiar with it at all, well, PRF doesn't exist. That's mine. There's SDF Physics. Excuse me. There's SDF Physics. And in SDF Physics, its sign distance function was basically just says, how far away am I from something? And this is largely how like artificial intelligence now uses to process 3D physics, because it's a lot more efficient. I made a modified one. I realized that instead of just telling me how far away I am and I'll figure out how much force and pressure and stuff I need to do, why not create a function that just tells me how far, or what actual physics I need to apply to that corner of the engine. So this is a very simple concept. It's just query forces. There's going to be multiples of these that run. But the basic idea is, if I'm really close to the ground, and let's just say this is ground, absolute zero in the game. And it just takes a look and says, hey, if you're really close to the ground floor, then it's automatically just going to put some counterforce up. And this is literally the physics function right here. That's it. All it's returning is it's got an output of vector 3 normal. Is this a laser pointer too? Yeah. Laser pointer. It's got a vector 3 normal, just saying what direction it's going, and a power. So it says, for where the car is right now, or at least this corner of the car, what direction is that trying to head, and how much pressure does it need? So if I'm really close to a wall, it's going to start pushing me farther away from it. If I'm farther, it's not going to do anything. And then when you start applying this, if you're using something like what did I call it? Forgot this. Spline. If you're using a spline, which is basically Zero, it was one of the famous anti-gravity racing games from PlayStation. I can't remember the name. Not F-Zero, but Wipeout, yes. Wipeout, the first track of that, I did the math for it, and it would work out to about 640K or 640 bytes to 2K. And that would be all the memory we need to run all the physics for the entire racetrack in this system. Because a spline, all you have to do is determine where you are in it, and it automatically tells you exactly which direction to go. And so it's very easy to convert that. And so an entire highway in the sky is effectively just however many little points there are to define where it turns. It's easy. And yeah, this is some of the AI movement that I did for it, but let's see. So yeah, other cars, you've got the world, and you've effectively got what are the other cars around you. It may feel complicated, but just remember that if you know how to say if a character is how far from the ground, or where are they, X, Y, on the screen, and you can change whether or not they're gonna move straight that way or whether they're gonna fall, that's your own physics engine right there. They can be really simple. Of course, they get a little bit more complicated the more things I'm trying to solve with this, and there's a lot more that goes on with it, but you can check out, oh yeah, this one. This is one where I did it and I had 50,000 points being done in real time on one CPU, doing checks to see what is the physics pressure and direction, and that's running in real time. And that's in Unity editor, not actually runtime even in the game. But it has multiple platforms that are affecting each of the physics. It's a little hard to tell, but those are all arrows, and they're pointing which way is the car going to be affected here. All right, I will also be at Unite, hopefully, if all funding clears for it, but I'll be speaking on low-level memory there and garbage collection in Unity. Anyway, that's it.